Hello everyone, thanks for joining us for Telesur. I'm Cody Weddle in Caracas, Venezuela. To start off today, a new controversy has been sparked by the new president, Mauricio Macri, in Argentina. Now, Macri, he decided to intervene the Federal Audiovisual Regulating Authority, or AFSCA. Now, activists and protesters took to the streets to back the entity, which was created under the 2009 media law. Now, Macri issued decrees to remove the head of the regulating body, Martín Sabathia, who headed the institution since Cristina Fernández's government, and to fusion the organization with the Federal Authority of Telecommunications and Information. Now, the move was justified by government officials as a step towards deregulating the media sector. And the world was shocked as images of police forces surrounding the AFSCA headquarters in Buenos Aires started to emerge there. The deployment of police was ordered by Macri's government after accusing the head of the regulating agency and its employees of rebellion against authorities. The brutality of the raid surprised even the head there of AFSCA. And the new measure taken by Macri comes after, on Tuesday, the government brutally dispersed protesters from poultry company Cresta Roja. Social movements and political parties are concerned over these measures. Laureano Ponce now reports from the capital there, Buenos Aires.
Social movements and political parties in Argentina organized a rally on Tuesday to protest against the economic measures carried on by Mauricio Macri's government, such as a 40% devaluation of the Argentine peso. These measures have already started to reduce the purchase power of the workers' salaries.
This is making the situation of the workers much more concerning, and we are also demanding a special bonus for New Year to make up for this situation.
The organizers also denounced the police brutality suffered earlier that day by workers who were demanding the government to take measures in order to keep them from losing more than 3,000 jobs due to their employer's bankruptcy.
This clearly shows a government that took office a few days ago and that is taking all the measures against the workers and the people and favoring the big business owners. They took the withholdings off, they liberalized the dollar.
However, despite the protests, the government has refused to change its position. While the new government has quickly accepted the demands of the top 1%, like eliminating or reducing export taxes, working families seem far from receiving satisfactory answers to their demands. Laureano Ponce, Telesur, Buenos Aires.
Venezuelan National Assembly has started its second extraordinary session to appoint 13 new Supreme Court judges and 22 substitutes after it failed to do that on Tuesday. Now, lawmakers had approved the appointments on Tuesday, but without the 2/3 of votes required, they needed to celebrate 2 more debates on Wednesday. Now, the ruling Socialist Party has 98 legislatures, some 14 short of a supermajority. This is currently. Now, according to the Constitution, after 2 attempts at a 2/3 vote to change a judge, only a simple majority is required for the 3rd vote. The right-wing opposition that will hold a supermajority in the next Congress has decried the move as what it's saying is a judicial coup. And still in Venezuela, a former paramilitary was detained on Monday in Urena on the border with Colombia. The man who uses the alias Daniel had 52 warrants issued against him, accused of homicide, terrorism, extortion, kidnapping, torture, recruitment of minors, possession of drugs and weapons, conspiracy, and violent sexual acts. Now, he was once the commander of United Self-Defense Forces of Colombia, leading nearly 1,200 men who were eventually accused of committing over 4,000 crimes. Meanwhile, in Colombia, President Juan Manuel Santos informed on Tuesday that those civilians who had what he called a decisive role in the country's internal conflict may also have to appear in front of the new special jurisdiction for peace created in agreement with the FARC guerrillas.
No se trata de ninguna manera.
We will focus on the cases in which participation has been a decisive issue. The word decisive is crucial. To commit the most serious and most representative crimes like war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, or forced displacement.
And in Chile now, students once again marched in Santiago against what they say is the improvisation of legislation there to make higher education free in that country. Now, the Confederation of Chilean Students marched towards Chile University, and the march that began peacefully ended in clashes with police and riot police dispersing the crowds there with a water cannon, which I believe we're seeing now. Now, Chile's Congress approved the first of President Michelle Bachelet's education reforms earlier this year. Those include an end to profits at state-subsidized schools and eliminates their selective entrance policies. However, students say those reforms don't go far enough. They demand the state use its natural resources and tax system to fund free tuition for students. Haiti's runoff elections due next Sunday. The Prime Minister announced Tuesday the creation of an independent commission of electoral evaluation. Thousands of Haitians have been demonstrating since last November, protesting what they consider was a fraudulent election on October 25th. Now, the runoff election has been postponed until January of next year. Peru is the first Latin American country where a Chinese hospital ship has docked for a 3-month mission to provide medical attention free of charge to those who request it. The Peace Ark, as it's called there, the vessel is docked in Callao Harbor since Sunday. Now, its technology includes X-ray devices, MRI cabins, and plenty of doctors there with a range of medical fields. It also has 8 operating theaters and 400 beds for patients. More than 2,000 Peruvians will be treated in the facilities, according to the country's health minister. A landslide now in central Peru due to heavy rains killed 2 people on Tuesday. Now, the slide buried parts of a highway in the Ayacucho region, including a truck where the victims were traveling. Landslides and avalanches in Peru, mainly in rural towns in the Andes and Amazon, kill dozens and destroy hundreds of homes every single year. The main road connecting Ayacucho with a swath of jungle valleys known as the Braem remains blocked. Colombia legalized therapeutic use for marijuana on Tuesday. Now, studies show that marijuana can help treat pain and nausea and offers relief for sufferers of epilepsy and some other conditions. Now, current law allows possession of up to 20 grams of marijuana or 20 plants for personal use, but growing, distributing, and selling cannabis remains illegal. Earlier this year, the government suspended spraying of illicit crops, citing cancer-related concerns. However, there are no plans to fully legalize marijuana there for recreational consumption or even commercial sale. The Mexican government has approved reparations for one of the families of the Ayotzinapa students. Our correspondent now, Clayton Kahn, now reports with these details.
It was announced yesterday that Mexico's Executive Committee for Victims Assistance, known as the CEAV, which is an institution formed out of demands from Mexico's drug war victims for reparations, that the family of one of the 6 individuals who died on the night of the police attack on the Ayotzinapa students in Iguala in September of 2014 will now be granted a comprehensive plan for reparations. Now, the CEAV committee unanimously approved a package that would provide the family of David Garcia, a soccer player of the Avispones team that was presumably attacked by police by accident. They will provide them with legal assistance, psychological and medical aid, as well as funds. However, we do not know the total sum. Now, this is the first of the families affected by the attack on the Ayotzinapa students that will receive this kind of aid. And members of the CEAV announced that they are reviewing other cases to see if other families will be eligible for these types of benefits. However, families of the 43 Ayotzinapa students who have been carrying out a long-standing grassroots campaign for truth and justice in the case, specifically demanding the return of their missing youth, have still yet to be notified of any of these types of benefits. Now, the families of the students have been very critical of the government's handling of the case, as we know, and treatment towards the victims and they themselves. Now, it is also worth noting that the CEAV has been previously criticized by families of Mexico's other disappeared for not completely fulfilling its mandate. Some families have also denounced the institution as a means to quiet their demands of deeper and more thorough investigations into finding their missing loved ones. This is Clayton Kahn reporting for Telesur here in Mexico City.
The current Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy is struggling to form a new government after Sunday's elections. Now, the Prime Minister held talks with socialist leader Pedro Sanchez, who turned down Rajoy's offer of building a coalition government. Now, Sanchez said his party will lead a government of change. However, it is not clear which parties will join the proposed coalition government for change. The right-wing Ciudadanos party called upon the socialists to unite with Rajoy's party and form a new government.
We feel it's the moment to seal a deal so that in Spain, no matter what the government ends up being, no matter what the majority ends up being, or what happens in the coming years, we are going to seal a deal between the Socialist Party, the Democratic Liberal Party, and the Conservative Party. That way, the large political spectrum, which represents the vast majority of Spaniards, can guarantee that the Union of Spaniards is not in jeopardy.
The French Prime Minister Manuel Valls has announced that France will go ahead with plans to strip citizens of dual nationality. Now, the measure will be applied only in cases when a person is found to be linked to terrorism. The announcement comes despite Justice Minister Christiane Taubira has expressed her concerns regarding such a measure. Currently, only naturalized citizens can be stripped of their French citizenship. And the house arrest of environment activists made during the COP21 summit are constitutional, according to France's Supreme Court. Now, these arrests were made within the context of the state of emergency declared after the Paris terror attacks. State activists claim that was used to silence social movements. The judges have now ruled that preventative arrests of activists do not violate the French Constitution. The Iraqi government claims it is days away from retaking the city of Ramadi, currently under the Islamic State group's control. According to Army Chief Lieutenant Al-Gahami, the Iraqi troops are advancing and are close to defeating the terrorist group. Recapturing that city would be an important boost in morale for the army, since it would be the second largest gain since it retook Tikrit. Fishermen in Gaza risk their lives every day doing their work due to the Israeli blockade against the Gaza Strip. Noor Harazin now reports more on their fight.
Palestinian official sources confirmed that the Israeli naval forces abducted 10 Palestinian fishermen Monday at dawn and Tuesday morning off the shores of Beit Lahia in northern Gaza Strip. Israel has continuously pursued Palestinian fishing boats off Gaza shores since it imposed a blockade in the Strip in 2006. Despite Gazan fishermen are committed to the designed fishing zone, which is limited to 6 nautical miles, Israeli forces target the Palestinian fishermen during their rescue journeys, in clear violation to the ceasefire agreement that was announced after Israel's protective edge offensive against the coastal enclave in 2014.
The third intifada did not occur randomly. It was the result of bitter measures that were carried out by the Israeli forces against the Palestinian people in Jerusalem. The Israelis wanted to impose a temporal division on the holy city of Jerusalem, and then they started attacking worshippers at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. However, the intifada launched in an effective way after the Itamar operation in Nablus, and then the Palestinian crowds took the streets with stones and knives. They began to run over operations against Israeli security forces and settlers.
Restrictions on fishing in Gaza Strip has been used by Israel against the population of the coastal enclave as part of its suppressive measures against the Palestinian people. Noor Harazin, Telesur TV, Gaza.
A ferry carrying over 1,000 refugees and migrants arrived in Greece. Now, according to UN figures, the number of migrants and refugees arriving to Europe has reached over 1 million this year. The migrants on the ferry thanked the Greek government for welcoming them. The European Union is still negotiating a system to cope with the migrant influx. So far, most of the migrants cross the Mediterranean and enter the EU through Italy and Greece. Good news from China now. After that devastating landslide in the city of Shenzhen, rescue workers have been able to find 2 survivors there 70 hours after that landslide. Now, the authorities informed Tuesday that they had detected some vital signs in 3 different spots on the site of the landslide. One of the men found is now in stable condition in the hospital, while the other man was trapped in the rubble. It is not clear his condition. Still in China, the country's environmental department has carried out measures to tackle the pollution there as smog haze continues to linger in northern regions. Several cities have issued what's called red alerts there due to the haze. The Hebei province issued its first red alert for haze Tuesday at noon, and the port city of Tianjin issued its first on Monday night. The government of New Zealand has issued an extradition order for the internet mogul Kim.com. Now, after a 9-week hearing, a New Zealand judge considered there was enough evidence against the Mega Upload founder to issue an extradition order against him. Kim.com has been targeted by U.S. and New Zealand's authorities over charges of piracy and copyright infringement. Mega Upload is a file-sharing service that has become widely popular around the world. Russia has issued an international arrest warrant against former oil tycoon Mikhail Khodorkovsky. The businessman is wanted for the murder of Vladimir Petukov, the mayor of a suburban oil-producing town that happened back in 1998. Now, according to investigations, the oil tycoon murdered the mayor due to demands for Khodorkovsky's Yukos oil company to pay taxes. The businessman has repeatedly avoided facing justice there in Russia.
Taking into consideration new evidence, the investigation has decided to name Mikhail Khodorkovsky as a party accused of organizing a homicide and an attempt homicide. As Khodorkovsky did not appear before the investigative committee, he will soon be put on the wanted list.
The draw for the 2016 Copa Libertadores to be held in Paraguay took place Tuesday night at the CONMEBOL Convention Center in the city of Luque. For the first time, the heads of the groups were appointed based on the regional body's ranking. Now, 32 teams will compete in the group phase, including Argentina's Boca and River, Uruguayan Nacional and Peñarol, Brazilian Atlético Mineiro and Cortinillas, and Paraguay's Olimpia and Cerro Porteño. The tournament will begin on January 27th. And to end today, we go to Stonehenge. That's where thousands of people attended the annual winter solstice ceremony to mark the shortest day and longest night of the year. Hundreds of pagans, druids, and witches attended this ceremony, many of them in some traditional costumes that you see there, while performing ceremonies with music and dances around the prehistoric monument. This is a tradition that has gone on now for at least 5,000 years. That's what we're covering today. Plenty more in all of those stories and others at our website, telesurtv.net/English. For Telesur English, I'm Cody Weddle. Have a great day.